The Erika tapes have been leaked. We're back.
Welcome back to Season 9, Episode 2 of Everybody Grieves Differently. I'm your host. That's what we're told, at least. You know, in retrospect, we should have probably saw that for what it was, recognized that expression for what it was. Another well-financed PR campaign against people for asking meaningful questions, shaming people. Now, you might be surprised then to learn who actually uttered that expression first over at Turning Point USA before Charlie's memorial in a corporate-wide phone call, which took place, or Zoom call rather, just 5.5 days after Charlie's assassination. And speaking of different ways to grieve, the now former CEO of Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring, is back trying to make a comeback to reclaim his name in the press after he ran the company into the ground with his petty grievances and personal passion projects. And like everyone in the mainstream media, he appears to be auditioning for a role at AIPAC in the very tried and true manner of publicly attacking.
I just really hope we're back. If you haven't been following the Candace Erika Kirk saga, like everything was kind of boiling to this, what felt like a summit where the two of them met in a secret location. And in that secret location, they discussed for 4.5 hours secret terms. And then Candace Owens came back and was just effectively like, maybe I got some things wrong. I shouldn't have gone so hard. I'm going to own that. And, maybe that there's some other angles we need to talk about. And maybe I'll make some jokes and memes. But it really felt like she was going to stop really targeting Erika Kirk and Turning Point USA as much. And then I was like, that seems to have been kind of what's the plan here. Because the biggest issue with Candace Owens targeting Erika Kirk and Turning Point USA is it really, really fucks with the public perception of the Charlie Kirk murder case. And you can tell that there's a lot of people on the right, and this includes, huge names. Basically, everyone from the Daily Wire is really big on this. But Tim Pool's really big on this. Stephen Crowder's really big on this. Matt Walsh is really big on this. All of them want to prepare for the Charlie Kirk trial because they really, really want to push this narrative that it was the left and trans people that murdered Charlie Kirk. Like trans people being the association, it's been a very loose association. First was the shooter was trans, then there was trans ideology on the bullets, and then it was like, no, wait, there was a meme, but the shooter had a trans roommate. Well, okay, the trans roommate is not a confirmed trans person, but they were in a relationship, or were they in a relationship? We're not sure. Maybe they were dating, but either way, there's an angle somehow there, and then it's because of that he targeted Charlie Kirk. And so I think we have enough to work with there. There's something. So at least on the very, very surface, we can say that there was some trans ideology involved or something related to trans people. And then in addition to that, it's the left. Broadly speaking, this was the work of the left. They hated Charlie Kirk. They want to kill you. They want you dead. They're coming from you. It's the left. Be afraid. Be scared of the left. That's what they're prepping for. As long as Candace Owens is on the other end being like, I don't know. I mean, kind of does look like maybe Israel, France, possibly Trump, and maybe even Turning Point and Candace Owens were part of an inside job to have him assassinated. As long as she's like putting that out there and getting more attention on that, yeah, that really spoils the public perception, especially on the right, right? Like this is something in which this is dominating like a very large portion of the right-wing media ecosystem who have been so primed to just believe conspiracy theories. Don't believe what the mainstream or the lamestream fake news puts out there. What you got to do is do your own research, patriots. You got to subscribe. You got to buy the pills. You got to get down on that fucking protein shake, like all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, that's what I was hoping everything would lead to, but then it just diverted for a while. And then Candace just went into strange new places. Like Charlie Kirk was a time traveler because look at this text. See this text where I'm like, I say that I'm an alien, and then Charlie's like, I'm a time traveler, and I feel like I traveled through time, but you traveled through time with me, and so we could meet and be together. Like it really feels like, just a human trying to connect with another human being on kind of like, a common trope. You might have conversations with people. Do you ever feel like maybe you are like the descendant of royalty or something, or you come from a different timeline, or do you ever feel like an alien? Those kind of things. And then the other person could be like, yeah, kind of sometimes. And you're like, yeah, I do too, and sometimes I think that deja vu is actually glitches in the matrix and things like that, right? But I think she took it literally, or at least she's taking it literally now. And now she's like, he literally was a time traveler who predicted his own death, who was able to see things before they happened. And as a direct result of that, well, I mean, that's why they had to silence him. They had to correct the timeline and stop the glitch. So that's basically where we're at. I want her to go aggressively after Erika Kirk and Turning Point USA again, the second time. That's what I'm kind of hoping this is all about.
That the decision had already been made and that it was Erika that was going to take over. And in my aggrieved state, I said, okay, great, amazing. Thank God. I'm so happy to hear that. So I'm so happy that none of these people who literally hated him are going to try to sit in his chair. Now, in hindsight, practically speaking, this means that within a space of about 72 hours, someone approached Erika and thought that the right thing to ask or say was, hey, know you're going through a lot right now, but is it okay if we put your name up for the position of CEO? And can we put that to a board vote today? Are you willing and able to take over as the chairman and the CEO in Charlie's stead?
All right. She's back to asking the questions that no one on the left can ask out loud because you'll get fired from your job or kicked out of your school. I mean, I'm not going to be allowed in the United States ever. They're going to deny me a visa just because I had the audacity to say Charlie Kirk is a racist.
Which Erika had to have replied yes. She had to give her consent for that to go up for a board vote. Okay. That's just a fact that had to take place, how it happened, exactly when it was said.
So to be clear, Candace Owens is saying that within 72 hours of learning about her husband's death, Erika Kirk had to have had a conversation in which she discussed business terms with the rest of the Turning Point USA team, board, CEOs. Remember, this is a company that apparently was bringing in close to $90 million last year. So they bring quite a lot of cash in. It's a very big media apparatus.
He felt that was appropriate to say that. Now, my first 72 hours was a little bit different. On my end, when Mitchell, my PR agent, sent me a very kind message about the infinite press requests that we had been receiving, people seeking a statement from me regarding how I felt about Charlie's public assassination, I wanted to physically assault him. He did nothing wrong. He actually did his job with the utmost professionalism and care. And still, I kind of wanted to kick Mitchell. I'm sorry, Mitchell. That's how I felt at that time, because everything just felt so intrusive. Like, to even think about the world going on felt wrong. I didn't think anything of her appointment at that time or beyond it, other than what I stated publicly, which was that Turning Point USA should have waited and instead appointed an interim CEO to allow Erika the time that she needed to grieve, rather than her having to deal with everyone questioning her moves as a CEO. But I also contended with myself, I will say. I also thought, well, maybe they rushed the decision because it was symbolic and they felt it was necessary, that it was sort of honorific, meaning she wasn't really going to do anything at that time, but they wanted to announce that this is the direction that it's going, which would be fair, like just wanting the announcement to mean something. And on her end, I thought maybe Erika said yes because she wanted to hold on to some sense of continuity. Like, this is still going to go on. We're going to get everything going. And that still could be true, by the way. That could have been what drove her decision. But of course, looking in retrospect, it is stunning to me that Erika chose not to bring a single member of her actual family with her to Utah. It's something that I just sort of missed at the time. Just Turning Point family. Think about that. Charlie Kirk's mother, father, sister, they all raced to Utah to be with him at the hospital, which is to be expected. But Erika, no one in her immediate family joined her in her darkest hour. Not her mom, okay? We were told that she was sick. Dad also lives in Scottsdale. Sister, yes, she does have one. Cousins, friends from high school. After all, she grew up.
Because it's Candace Owens, I have no idea if any of this is true. But also, it's funnier to believe it, so I'm just going to choose to believe it. This is all accurate reporting.
In Arizona, right? That's where she went to school. That's where she went to high school. Instead, she was joined by Stacey Sheridan, who was playing the part of her mother. Stacey, who is the head of fundraising for Turning Point USA. Don't forget, it was Stacey Sheridan who concerned herself with Turning Point raising money, who filmed Charlie in the casket. It is Stacey Sheridan who traveled with Erika. She's the one who was holding Erika.
Oh, was that all her idea? That shit was weird as fuck.
hand, holding her hand as Charlie's casket was coming off of Air Force Two. That was Stacey Sheridan standing next to her recording. Not her mother, not her dad, not Erika's sister. You just would think that somebody that you would call somebody close to you that does not exist in a corporate structure to be by your side. That is my now totally rational perspective looking backward. But it was Stacey Sheridan, who I've told you since day one. I personally warned Charlie about her. That is my personal opinion, that there is no rung into hell that Stacey Sheridan will not descend upon for $1. It's my experience with her. But this person was somehow crucial.
She rambles too much, I know. And she's like, of all the right-wing pundits, does the shortest show. Like even, well, no, I guess maybe Steven Crowder's comparable. Crowder's timeline for streaming has been shrinking more and more. Like it used to be he would do like 2.5 hours, then he went down to like an hour and a half, then he went down to an hour, and now he does like 40 minutes. So I think he's the shortest, but her shows are only like an hour long, and it has all like 3 or 4 segments built into it already. All right, I'll get to the leak tapes.
Only given Erika as this symbol of you guys need to work harder, right? As though Charlie's wife was being used to convince employees that it is now a mandate handed to them by God to work harder, to sacrifice themselves, to work long.
Peacefire now. Thank you for the raid. Can everyone go to twitch.tv/peacefire now? Give Peacefire now a follow back. Hello, friends. We're just learning. We're about to watch the incredibly new leaked exclusive tapes of Erika Kirk. So hold on to your butts. It's going to be wild. Hey, Dark Native is here. Everyone check out Dark Native's channel as well. Thank you, Peacefire now, for the raid. I appreciate you.
Longer days, because this is their new family. Like this word, I've always been struck by this, describing the employees like a family, to drive them to work like horses, only to then fire them after $250 million is raised, is wild. Okay. Like I said, at least she is not dressed in hair and makeup. She is at the office. I would say the bad news is that once again, Erika is going to stop herself from using the word happy in the context of Charlie and how he must be feeling in heaven. I'm going to let this play out for 5 minutes straight, and there is no context needed other than this is 5.5 days after her husband was publicly assassinated. And yes, in the background, that is Terrell Farnsworth, the guy who took down the cameras. Yeah, but we are going to see some.
Finally get the raid. We just saw you on the Avi Phonathon. Thank you for inspiring us all. Oh, you were a part of that. Good for you. Well, thanks for volunteering on the other end and doing phone calls.
Brief. So I'm going to allow you guys to watch this for 5 minutes.
Had private conversations with him. I want you all to hold on to those. And I want you all to remember those so deeply. I want you to journal about them. I want you to be able to tell your kids about them. I want you to put those in your heart as why you're still here.
Lance got to meet Yanis. I did not know. I didn't get to meet Yanis Varoufakis. That was, I think, a conversation that we was having with Avi live. I just went on for a short, 10 minutes. They were just asking me about local canvassing and how to, do local politics and stuff like that.
With the Turning Point USA family, because that's what we want. And like I said to our small group, after whatever day that was that I did the thing on TV, how many days are still going on Friday, I told the team, I said, Turning Point USA will continue like my husband always wanted, and it'll be bigger than ever. And we're going to honor him by doing that. We're going to stay humble. We're going to work hard because that's what he would want. And we're going to just make it grow. And we're going to keep our eyes fixed on heaven. And, like even Stacey said, he's gonna find ways to speak to us. And he's going to speak to you in different ways. Every person's going to be different. But you'll get little moments where you're like, okay, Charlie, I see you. It might be here on campus. It might be in the quiet moments of the night. But he's here, and he's more alive than ever. And he is, he's going to guide us. And we just have to remain humble. But again, what I told the team was, I will fight like hell to make sure that all of you have a job here. I don't want anyone to think their job's in jeopardy, because your family, if you choose to leave, that's different. I never will, and I promise you, I will make sure that I never allow a point to where you have to leave because we cannot financially afford you.
JAC922, thank you very much for the gifted sub. And yeah, this is very strange. I don't understand why this is all taking place like days after everything happened. Why would you be so concerned about business?
And that is a promise. I want our family to stay together the best it can. Obviously, circumstances, you know, there's unforeseen things that might pop up here and there that we can't foresee in the future. But for right now, the way things are, I would like to remain if they are status quo. And I think that's the best thing to do. And everything else we can worry about later. But I just want to let you know that you guys are all very loved. I'm very proud of you. And Charlie would be, I think Charlie's just, I'm trying not to say that he's obviously celebrating in heaven amongst so many things, but he's so proud of all of you. And he's so proud of all of you for keeping this mission alive. And
this is weird, creepy cult stuff. I gotta be honest. It's indistinguishable from watching creepy videos of cult members indoctrinating, you know, the flock.
He knows that you can do it. That's why you're hired. And he knows that you will be able to carry the torch, and he knows that you're going to do a great job, and you're going to be able to, even though things are going to be tough.
So yeah, just keep in mind, this is basically a Zoom call being done with the Turning Point USA staff who just recently, you know, are probably in a bit of shock, having lost the face and head and founder of the organization who was just assassinated, and then having the widow of the founder take over the company as both the front-facing, you know, host and CEO within the span of 72 hours, and now doing a business meeting call about how Charlie is celebrating from heaven and would be so proud of all of you, and that all of you should stay with the company. Like, that is very strange. I know there's so many people who are like, I come on, you can't criticize if someone grieves. And I was like, fine, you grieve however you want. I'm not saying this is not a form of grief that anyone can take. You can grieve. I'm not gonna criticize the grieving itself. I am gonna criticize, I guess, the power grab seems unusual. Just to, like, is Turning Point USA that much of a Game of Thrones scenario where you had to pull the succession off instantly to avoid a potential, you know, battle or power vacuum that would be between conflicting members? Was that really going on behind the scenes? Was there, like, you know, what's the most important thing, what Charlie would have wanted most of all right now is us to obviously appoint a new face of the company, a new leader, a new CEO, and then immediately go to work on tours, on spectacles, on book sales. Like, just has to go bam, like one to two.
Honestly, the nights are the hardest. Mornings are pretty raw too. But just what I've noticed these past several days is if I didn't have the family, the Turning Point USA family with me, all of you, I would be a disaster. I mean, I would be in fetal position 24/7. But the fact that we have a continued mission to look forward to, and we have our family, it's everything. And some of you, this is your chosen family. And just rely and lean on each other. That's huge. Leaning on each other is huge because all of you were together prior to this and will be together after this. And everything, and I told Justin this, it's going to be something where everything before September 10th, any email you were working on, any project you.
What's the merch mission? This is what Candace leaked prior to this other leak. This is the second leak in a row, just to keep in mind. There's been 2 days of leaks.
We're at like over 200,000 for merch sales. Don't quote me on that because I think it just keeps like bumping up like crazy. But I just wanted to say a huge thank you to the events team, the development team, the graphic design team.
That was 11 days after he died. This is after that massive fireworks, 250,000 people stadium event that they threw, being like, man, the merch sales were so good. That was incredible. Can't believe how much money we're making off this.
We're working on is it's not that it's irrelevant now. It's just things have changed, obviously. And the mission has gotten deep.
What kind of merch did they have? I think it was the Freedom shirts. That was the first really big one. I guess they're trying to brand the word just the word freedom, I think, with Charlie Kirk in its totality.
And the mission will grow deeper. But like, I just want all of you to know, we will be wise stewards. We will be vigilant. We will be humble. And I just want you to know that, again, I'm with you. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And we're going to make sure that we honor my husband so well, that this whole world knows what his vision was and will be. And it's just, I feel so blessed and honored.
Blessed and honored. That is crazy work as adjectives. I don't know. That's crazy work. That is like, I couldn't. Blessed and honored to be the CEO and to be telling you guys that you're a family. And I want you to see this because we've spoken about this, the Moonies cult, and these people that are leaving are like, it was just like a cult. Like, basically she's saying this, she's calling you a family. She promises them. That's why it's important you have to hold this to the fire. You're not the CEO. You promise these kids that if they are going
to, I hope she's back. I really need things to ramp back up just for the benefit of humanity. We need all of the worst people to be fighting each other right now more than ever. All right. We need some of the worst human beings to all turn on each other. And this happens to be one battle that I was worried that Candace was running away from. And I was just thinking to myself, you don't have to. You fear no one, Candace. You have taken over this entire grift. There's no one who comes close. Like, she dwarfs all of the Daily Wire hosts combined, all of those old white men destroyed by Candace Owens. And now that she's turning her sights on Turning Point USA, I was like, that's tough. That certainly has got to be like probably the hardest boss possible, just because of how intertwined, the entire Turning Point USA organization is with the Trump administration. Like JD Vance and Erika Kirk, don't get anyone started on that. Like, what the fuck is going on there? But outside of that, even it's just like this organization is the Hitler Youth recruitment directly to the president of the United States. Like, it doesn't get much more powerful than that. And obviously all of the right wing do not want anyone going after Turning Point USA. Like, you could just see like Tim Pool, Steven Crowder, they were all falling over each other, suddenly attacking Candace Owens out of nowhere. Like, no, you don't go after Erika. It's a grieving widow. No.
Work harder. You're in this family. Your jobs are safe. Actually, that's what makes her cry. Saying your jobs are, that's when she breaks, right? When she says, it's so important to know your jobs are good. Like, I feel emotionally attached to you guys working for me. And then you attach that to what we showed you of a young woman who, like I said, on everything, she never leaked anything. She never spoke to me, nothing, gets fired. And for asking a simple question, like, literally, why am I fired? We've been working like 25 hours. Just get out. There's security there. That's it.
Does she hate Erika? She's the one who just leaked all of these tapes. Like, I don't know which Turning Point USA member effectively broke rank, but someone in Turning Point USA is emailing Candace Owens' team and leaking all of these tapes of, like, inner circle board meetings and the stuff that is happening that's not supposed to be for public consumption. She's now leaking all of this. Like, it's kind of funny. Candace, like, if you had a whole bunch of, say, like, Antifa super soldiers, let's just say, like, gay furry hackers, whatever the squadron that we were able to assemble was, and then we were all just as leftists for like, all right, we got to take down this Turning Point USA organization, we probably, after some time, could have uncovered a handful of things that Candace has just been dropping over the past week or so. Like, all of the old Erika Kirk used to work for kind of like a weapons arm manufacturing sales company or promoter that does like EMP projections, like stuff like that. No one had seen any of that footage before. Candace was just leaking it. And then all of a sudden, all the old dating show stuff where like Erika Kirk was doing audition tapes to be on The Amazing Race with her then partner while she was lying to the world that she in fact, didn't date anyone before Charlie, didn't drink alcohol, when she's on reality TV shows dating people and drinking alcohol. Like, I'd say the wildest thing about Erika Kirk is that she has spent like the totality of her life, both since she's been involved with Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk, pushing this idea on a regular basis that like there's not going to be Charlie Kirk effectively was someone who was approaching Lance. Are you spilling the tea? No. This is all tea that's been publicly available and being dropped by Candace. I want to be completely clear. This is stuff that she's been dropping. I'm just trying to say that if the left had banded together and we worked really hard, I could see people uncovering some of this stuff, but she's just giving it away for free. Like, it's just like another far right xenophobic bigot who's now choosing as her primary target to be Erika Kirk, Turning Point USA, and now that she's ramping that up, I think it's a good thing. Again, all this stuff coming out is pretty wild. The Erika Kirk constantly telling everybody, like, going out and talking about how motherhood is the most important thing in life, and that you shouldn't want a career, and that you shouldn't be a career-driven person, and that motherhood is honestly, it's the most important thing for women to be. She's doing that while at the same time, the one time you could make a very, very strong argument that you should probably be spending more time with your children is now, right? Like, the left who do not believe in mandatory gender roles, the left who do not believe in mandatory servitude for women and the whole patriarchal sales pitch, all that kind of stuff, none of that is true. But I think anybody, man, woman, or non-binary person, if you've just recently lost a parent, you should probably be spending more time taking care of the family and helping the children. That's just kind of like most people would just assume that's, this is being a decent human kind of shit. And now it's like the moment that this has happened, when someone who has spent their entire life basically talking about being a trad wife and the solemn duty of being a mother and devoting yourself to your husband, suddenly at that key moment in time, now of all times, has decided, nah, I want to be the boss. We're
moving in a different direction. That is not okay. Okay, you're not allowed to say everybody grieves differently, so I don't have to answer any questions about that. And guys, we're going to bring in the beginning too, because I want you to watch the beginning of this so you can see the full thing of it, because we don't need to strip anything, because she starts by laughing, which I find to be interesting. But I do want to let you know that we are having some buffering issues. We still have major blackouts in Nashville, so we're doing our best here. If you have some connectivity issues, just know that that's the reason why. Here's the beginning of that call.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, look at all the thumbs up. Look how cute that is. Sorry, this is a little bit more informal than probably Charlie would be reacting. How sweet. I didn't know they could do that. I hate Zoom. I never liked Zoom. Sorry, you guys. I just wanted to say, first and foremost, my heart obviously is broken for you guys as much as it is for our family. You guys lost not only a boss, but someone that you looked up to, someone that you believed in his mission, that you also that you loved listening.
It just all seems so weird. I don't think any of these people see each other as human beings, right? I think everything is just like a commodity. It's all quid pro quo. It's just like, I know that, like, you should never talk about how different people grieve, and like, I've had friends, or I've had family, or even had experiences myself where you'd think that this is something you're going to be able to process and get over in a couple months, but it takes years. And in other cases, you're shocked at how little someone's loss can affect you. Like, again, yeah, there's not a one size fits all for grieving or what to do. But like, goddamn, if you lose your soulmate in such a tragic manner, like, I would assume that the next like 24 to 48 hours aren't like war room time. At least I just can speak for myself. They wouldn't be for me. I wouldn't be like, fucking all hands on deck. Who is next in line for the succession? It's like, well, I mean, we don't have to think about that. It could be several months before we get the board together and decide what our next moves are. But for now, no emergency meeting. I want you to get the entire Turning Point USA internal call together now. I need to talk to them, all right? They need to see that this is not going to go anywhere. Like, the face of Turning Point USA has arrived. And then doing this, I don't know. It's
show
fucked up.
you loved. hearing his wisdom on things. I'm sure some of you have also had very personal moments of where you sat down and
Yep. So that's the beginning, just so you have that in its full context. Now, like I said, this is something. It's definitely something. It feels to me a bit like the psychological phenomenon known as trauma bonding, right? They had just suffered a very real trauma. That's not a trauma that most people go through in their entire lives. You sign up for a company. Charlie Kirk is the leader of that company. You sign up, majority of these people, to work for this organization because they believe in Charlie Kirk. They believe in what he is doing on college campuses. And then you watch him get live assassinated. And now management is going to try to establish your loyalty using all sorts of tactics, but essentially what they're creating here is an emotional dependence, right? We are a family. We have lived through this. This is a family. And that very well may not have been Erika's intent. But hearing her sound like she's about to cry when she discusses specifically them keeping their jobs, not Charlie, but Charlie having been assassinated in front of the world, but the prospect of their employment, we do not have to imagine if she meant that sincerely, because she didn't. She did not mean that sincerely. After working them all like horses, wrapping them in this way, she's going to fire a boatload of them without cause or even conversation. That's actually traumatic. See it from the employee's viewpoint. For those of you wondering...
She's just trying to stir up hate. Well, I mean, I hope so. Because, like I said, I want to return to the good old days, these days.
Let them fight.
Thank you so much to our patrons for making this show possible. We could not fund it without you. And if you want to join, please check out patreon.com/theserfs to unlock bonus episodes, uncensored content, and all the good stuff. Thanks to Anna Loves Riley, Addercap, Bobby Lasers, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hegbard Salim, Multimondi, Omni, Political Papi, Preston Kroll, Quiet One 85, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demmel, Tigwick, and Words Greenwood.